Sex demons, not my thing. Not my thing. So that. Hey good people, welcome back to Monique's Book List. So your girl did it. I read 31, not 30, but 31 novellas between September 15th and September 30th. And it was a total of 2,521 pages. Listen, now I know there's people who read more pages than me, but I mean, in 20 days, that's like 2 Harry Potter books, like at least book 7 and 8. Those books was hefty, and maybe 7, 8 and half of 6. I'm just saying, I read that in the total about 20 something days. I'm proud of myself. So I'm gonna pause while you guys clap. I need the reassurance that I did something. Okay, I mean, I read all these damn books. I mean, can you just reassure me? Okay, all right. Thank you for all that. Anyway. And if you're like, girl, you just read some novellas, why are you so excited? First of all, take the bass out your voice when you're discounting my reading, okay? Second of all, you're right. That's all the hell I did was read some novellas. But I did that though, okay? So I took away some things, and I'm going to do 2 videos because I tried to do this on 1 video, and it was 45 minutes. So I decided that I would try to make it condense the content a little more, and do 2 videos, which I'm going to release within the same week, one on Wednesday and then one on Friday. So let's get to the first video. This first video is going to contain the things I learned, and also the books that I did not care for, because of course you can't go into the books you appreciate. You got to talk shit a little bit, okay? So first things I learned about reading like this. 1, I don't like it. I don't enjoy reading on a schedule like this. I don't like pushing myself through books. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I didn't enjoy some of the books as much as I think I would have. Because some of them were just okay. And I'm believing that they were just okay because I felt rushed and pushed. And then I believe some of them were actually good. Or some of them were just bad. Like, some of them were just bad. I could have taken a month and a half to read them, and I would have still thought they were bad. But yeah, I don't really like reading like this. Like, it's not my bag to read like this. I also found a new favorite author, and that is Ashley Nicole. She is probably the funniest author I have read in a while. Like I mean, straight bent over laughing at this lady. She is ridiculous. When I tell you that the writing is ridiculously funny and sexy time, she was everything I wasn't expecting in a good way. Like, I wasn't expecting to come out with a new favorite author that I will read at a drop of a notice. So I read 4 books by her, and then there were 2 books that I just noped. Like, I was like, I'm not reading this. I just noped out of there. And that was Sin's Temptation. And the reason why I wasn't feeling Sin's Temptation, because I'm going to talk about this a bit more later, but they started off the book with Sin is the main male character, and he's around his late 20s. And I was like, okay, so his paramour is probably going to be 22, 24, 25. She was still in her school uniform. She was technically legal, but she was still in her school uniform. So I was like, nope, I'm not reading about a child who literally just turned 18 and is about to get... No, just not doing that. So I noped out of that one. And then the other one I noped out of was called Love and War. And I noped out of that one because the main female's character's name is Jada. And for those of you who don't know, Jada is the name of my only child. And I don't think I could read a book that I knew had sex in it with my child's first name in it, and she being the main character. I was just like, nope. So I noped out of that. I was just like, I can't do that. A book that really surprised me, that caught me off guard, was a book called Fantasy Island, Maya's Werewolf. And this was by Zen Nguyen. It's a very short book. It was 45 pages, and it basically was porn. It was book porn. Like, I'm telling you, you were barely into the story and they was having sex, like barely into the story. So the premise of the story is Maya has, she saw these, like, I guess she saw these things where you could pay to go to a fantasy island and have like the fantasy of your desire played out. Well, hers was to have sex with a werewolf. And so she did that. So she went to the island and she met the werewolf and they did their thing. And he was both in werewolf form and then also in male form. So she kind of got to know him as a human. And then, of course, on the third day, she had to leave. So she leaves, comes back to her job, and she's kind of sad because, of course, in novellas, they have to pack all the angst, love, and all of that in one thing. So she's sitting at her office, and she's kind of sad because she's like, oh, I felt like I connected to this kid or this guy, and like, I can't believe it happened in such a short time. And then she hears the voice of the person she was on the island with sit down beside her with tacos. And I think tacos was her favorite food or something like that. And she tried to figure out, why are you here, my friend, when you are my fantasy? Well, come to find out, his fantasy was to be Maya's werewolf. Unbeknownst to her, he is the IT person at her office, and she used her IT computer to apply and pay for her fantasy island. And he saw it because he has to scrub the data and see how people are using the servers and all that good stuff. So, and he had been like, hey, my girl, let's see you over here on the streets. Oh, you trying to have sex with a werewolf? I'm gonna be your werewolf. So it was quite interesting. When I say that it was surprising, it was surprising that it was so condensed. It was surprising that it was straight up book porn. And it was also surprising that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I took it for what it was, nothing more than what it needed to be. And yeah, I very much enjoyed it. It was not my favorite book. We'll talk about my favorite books in the next video. So let's talk about these books I didn't like. Now I'm gonna go from, I'm gonna save my least favorite one for last. So I'm gonna start with the first book, and it's called Bear for the Alpha, and it's by Olivia Turner. And the two main characters are Damon and Kingsley. And he is a werebear. And she's living in this town where there are werebears, there are werelions. I wouldn't be surprised if there were were llamas. I don't know. Anyway, I was just waiting for Dorothy to show up and the witch in some ruby slippers. There was too many were shit going on in this little city or little town. And then her father was a werebear. And I think the thing that put me off this book the most was, even though I knew these books are condensed and you have to get to the love and all that insta love stuff quick, their first encounter of meeting each other, he's completely naked because he's just shifted back into his human form. He handles himself in front of her the first time they meet, and she doesn't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, that was weird. That was a little weird. So and then it kind of went down from here because like there was like a lot of like real creepy like raper vibes. Like the werelions came into play because one of them saw her walk past a restaurant, and he just rolled up on her and her dad like, we're here for curves. Basically, they was gonna rape her. Like it was a lot of rapey feelings, a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? It was real rapey. It was real rapey. I'm sorry. So the next book that was bad, and this is my second to least favorite book, is called September's Kisses. And this is by Dakota Revel. And I read a lot of the reviews. A lot of people liked this book. It was just not my jam. You had Josh and you had, what is it? Her name is September, but they call her Ember. Not Amber, but Ember. Ember. So he's like this ex-military who sees her and like is like in love and all this good stuff. And he kind of stalks her for a bit. And they both are virgins, but he's older than her. He's like 35 and she's like 22. Now, again, this is romance and this is fiction, and there's a lot you can you have to let go when it comes to fiction. You have to be okay with not making sense. For the content, it was too short for the content for me. I didn't like it. But yeah, that's my second to least favorite book. So here comes my least favorite book out of all of these. So it involves an incubus. If you don't know what an incubus is, it is a male succubus. It involves fucking cousins. And yeah, so in this, the book is called An Illicit Seduction. And this is by, I want to say her name is, I don't think I have it right here, but I think it's like Sienna or Shanice or something like that. C. Higgins. And okay, you have, I think her name is Serapha, and you have Damon. Serapha is the word for angel or angelic being, and you have Damon. So you have these two people who are technically cousins. Seraph's uncle is Damon's stepfather, and somehow Damon gets possessed by a sex demon and just starts having sex with his cousin. The first time technically, it was kind of like, I believe it was non-consensual. The second time it was definitely consensual. And then the multiple times thereafter were sensual. I think the thing that bothered me the most about this is how she found out he was a sex demon. So after they have sex for a couple of times, she says to her friend, she's like, I think I'm addicted. I don't know. It's not really affectionate sex. It's just sex. And I think that anytime I'm around him, if he comes near me and he wants to have sex, I will have sex with him. And she's like, just friggin' randomly. Do you think he's possibly possessed by a demon, like an incubus? Now, first of all, I knew what a succubus was. I didn't know there was a male version of it, and it's called an incubus. Yeah, so she had been having sex with her cousin's body, which was possessed by an incubus for 3 months. And I think the thing that really got me is when she decided, like, I'm going to break the spell. I'm going to try to save my cousin's life, who I've been having sex with. She decided, I'm going to have one more time with him before I try to, exorcise the demon, literally. I'm going to have sex with you again, even though I know that you are incubus. Like, I don't know, like that. Yeah. And again, they were cousins, technically cousins. And that was weird. I just didn't like it. It was just a lot of weirdness, a lot of randomness. Oh, and then this demon tried to kill Damon by walking him in front of a bus. Oh, and also her cousin doesn't remember any of this. The whole time his body was possessed by the sex demon, he doesn't remember any of this. So she tries to pretend like it didn't happen. And for some reason, she allowed her cousin, who she didn't know when they were having sex before she found out he was a sex demon, take pictures of him. Take pictures of them having sex, take pictures of her naked body, all these things. So this stuff is still on her cousin's phone. So when he comes to and he's trying to remember everything, he's going through his phone and he's like, I smashed. Like, it was my least favorite. I'm just saying. Sex demons, not my thing. So that is my first take on the romance overload. My next video, which I'm going to hit stop on this and film real quick. And it is my favorite. And then some few things that I also noted while reading all of this romance. So I will talk to you next time. And until next time, bye.